Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another exciting discussion today. And so my name is Kimberly Quinn. I'm really I get excited to talk about, well, pretty much anything that's involving, well-being, optimal human functioning, life satisfaction, all that good stuff. And we're in the holidays right now. And so I want to kind of chat about some tips, 10 tips to prevent yourself from going completely insane during the holiday blur. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you got all kinds of not great family, though it might mean that. There's also just the commercialism to deal with, like the keeping up and the stress that parents have to, provide, for their kids and to keep up with it all. It's just, it's like, you feel like you have your rollerblades greased and you're just on, like this, like, fast flying treadmill it all goes so fast, and there's definitely a lot of pressure on parents, no question, and on budgets and things like that. And then there's also a lot of wonderful stuff. I remember in the back in the day, with 5 little kids, and that is magical, I have to tell you. But it would take me 6 weeks to put it all together, and then whoosh, over in about an hour and 15 minutes. Tops, max. And it just so mom's there on the couch in the PJs with a huge cup of tea, and everybody else is buzzing, and then conk. All right. So anyway, so the number one I have to start off, which is true, and anyway, here's the deal. Life is not an emergency. Thank God, most of the time. We can obviously get that horrible phone call or something, and that's the exception, thankfully. In fact, life's not even an urgency, yet we make it an urgency. So that's true the other 364 days, or if we're counting Thanksgiving, and Hanukkah's, of course, 8 days, you celebrate something different. But basically, the majority of the time, high majority of the time, life is not an emergency or even an urgency. So it's really important to remember that, because the holidays, at least here in the lovely United States, just takes off. It takes on a momentum of its own. And it feels like, we're like doing like this, trying to catch up. So another one that rolls into the life is not an emergency or an urgency is the fact. This is very important to remember, because the holidays definitely take on a life of their own, sort of thing. And to remember that the only meaning anything has is the meaning that we give to it. That's the truth. It's all here. So if that works in your favor, like you've got a big, wonderful, loving family, and there's no such thing as perfect. You know how I feel about that word. You better off dropping the F-bomb, use that word. But let's say you have a good enough family. They're like Donald Winnicott from the 50s, a good enough mother, good enough parent, good enough family, and they're mostly good. Then pour meaning by the bucket loads in there, reliving all the old stories. And I love listening to my husband's family, because they tell the exact same stories over and over. And it's probably, if you had a DVD of it, it would probably be a little different, I'm just saying, because that's how it happened. In fact, a little sidetrack, my husband loves to tell our honeymoon story with the plane catching fire, crash landing, blah, 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 blah. And he tells the whole thing about how our luggage went to Tokyo and all this stuff. And all that's true, but it's funny, because at this point, I wonder if I was even there, because the story is so different. So anyway, so the only meaning we give to something is the only meaning anything has is the meaning we give to it. So if that's the opposite for you, or somewhere in the middle, choose not to give meaning to it. You don't have to. We have voice and choice as an adult, thank God. You don't have to, I ought to, I should have done this, should have done that, should dress my kids this way, but I can't afford it. They should have the best of whatever the game is out and all that other stuff. No, you can just turn that stuff around. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is that simple. We have control there. We don't have to give meaning to things that don't need to have meaning. With people who maybe aren't our favorites and things like that. So then I have create a not to-do list. Isn't it great? We usually have to-do lists, and it's like this long usually, and it's that long at the holidays. If the phone were bigger, even bigger. Not to-do list. It's fabulous. So typically in any one day, there's something that can go. It can just go. Just scratch it right off. You just gave yourself some life minutes back. It's like kind of dipping into the what do you call that? Interest on an accruing, financial account. You're not tapping into the capital. Just take it right off the top. Good. Don't take anything personally. God, I try to live by this. I do live by this one. And remind myself frequently that, remember that we are all the main characters or actors on our own stage. That is the truth, no matter how much you love your partner, your kids, and everybody else, because we're in here. This is where we are, right? And we look through our own filter or schema, and that we take everything goes into that filter, everything. From the ground up, such as you're born in a rural or urban or suburban environment, where your birth order, when you're an only child, you're a twin, the if you were financially secure and housing secure and food secure or not growing up or now, like it all goes into there. And remember that when anybody is even responding to you about, so how'd you like that spaghetti yesterday? It's still coming through a filter of all that, all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. So it's very important to not take anything personally. I don't care if what they said has your name on it, like a neon sign in Vegas above a casino, and it feels like, oh, this is so personal. It doesn't matter. It's all their own emotion, and maybe they're feeling offended about something, or just like a 2-year-old, they're hungry, angry, sick, or tired, and so out it comes, and all that stuff. So don't take anything personally. Just nothing. And then that rolls into learn to be quietly effective. I did a whole video on that one. Rather than just coming right out with it. And there are times to come out with it. There are times for most things, right? To just, be direct. Most of the time, however, being quietly effective is way more powerful. Somebody's being snarky and there's snark to like mid snark where somebody's bordering on toxic. And then we have the toxics who we should release like a helium balloon. We don't need that. They're like walking turpentine. Okay. But for everybody who's not them, it can be and them actually, can be so powerful to just, you make the point without making the point. When we actually come out with what the point is, it often weakens us. It depends on the situation, but when we can just be quietly effective, smile, nod, go outside, figure it out. The point is well taken. If somebody's getting political and somebody's just not listening, it's their way or the highway, like strong opinion, just walk away from those people. And then it's also a drama buster because it just stops the drama when you don't, because it's kind of like you're dropping the rope, sort of, but it's not like a giving up or giving in. It's taking the high road, and it's just better. Then 6, take grown-up timeouts, little mini timeouts. Find a way to get out of there. If you don't have a car, find somebody with a car. Or go for a walk up the street. I've got to go, figure it out. Get sleep. Most things are worse and actually blow up when we are chronically sleep deprived. And you can take a nap, good for you, but regular sleep at night is essential. That's true in life in general, but during the holidays and the zip, zip, zip rush, like we're gerbils on crack with little Santa hats on, right? It's very essential to get your sleep. And 8, I have commit to one simple pleasure a day. You can do this. Like, I don't have 5 minutes. Yes, you do. You can spend 5 minutes on the toilet if something didn't agree with you. Okay? I know, a little gross, but it made a good point. So yes, 5 minutes. If it's or maybe 15 minutes. If it's a hot bubble bath at night, glass of wine, better yet, glass of wine with the hot bubble bath, a good book in the daytime, a walk, anything. Just get on the phone with a friend. You deserve that, and because we've got to keep ourselves filled up, that is our number one job. We are no good to anybody else if our cup is dry. We become spiritually and emotionally bankrupt, which also affects the body. Not good. Got to keep ourselves filled up. We can only give what we have. So it's like whatever's in the cup is for you. What overflows is for everybody else. That's how it goes. And then after that. Oh, I said that the tougher your situation, the better the simple pleasure. So just make it really good. Like if you go disappear and have like a banana split in private, good for you. And then 9, get an exit plan together. There was a kid in our neighborhood. I said this on a different video. He used to crack me up when he was a teenager because he had a dysfunctional family and we hung out a lot. And he worked at a fast food place in town, and he used to deliberately get scheduled on Christmas Eve and Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I think Easter, if I remember right. And at first his mother would say, well, when he first started, well, I'm new, Mom. And she's like, oh, well, okay, that makes sense. I'm proud of you working. We'll save you a plate. But she didn't like it. Then it was like year 2 and 3 and then 4. And he came up with a different reason and he wanted out of there. Scheduled me for a shift, a double shift, anything but my house. And good for him. And he was happier for it. So get an exit plan together. Your exit plan might be, when, like you might be given like the high sign to somebody who's good in your family, a sibling or a best friend, that when someone's like, when your brother's new wife you don't like arrives, or maybe she just talks incessantly and, you don't like despise her or anything, but she's just a little annoying. And then you like give like a little cue. Like if I rub my chin, it's kind of like in baseball when you do the, thing. And then your rescue raft comes over and says, "Oh, can you come here and help me with the, basting of the turkey for a second?" That sort of thing. Or even to get out of Dodge totally. Have a plan to leave. Again, so you're not obvious when you do like this, and then the person on the other side of the room says, "Okay, well, looks like we gotta go." Okay? And then always, the last one is always set the bar at do your best, because remember, not perfect. Perfection is self-abuse of the highest order, and Anne Schaaf, I believe, said that. So self-abusive. Do your best, go into it knowing that just doing your best. The holiday, in the end, is just another day. Remember, we're giving meaning to that day and blowing up like it's bigger than every other day, and it doesn't have to be. It just doesn't have to be. So, and that's it. And then that, not only is the holiday just another day, tomorrow is a brand new one. Tomorrow's a brand new one. Do your best. None of it is worth the agita. It just isn't. It just isn't. Okay, this is Kimberly Quinn signing off from Northern Vermont. I usually don't film at night, but it's been very fun with the lights on. Okay, have a mindful day.